Very well said. Shady, Steve Kerr might be like my favorite coach in all the sports.
I love Steve Kerr.
All things considered, he might be my favorite coach in all the sports. It's not going to end well. This will not end well for the Warriors, in my mind, for several reasons. Steve Kerr might move on. Bob Myers might move on. Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kuminga, they all might move on. Wiggins, etc. I don't think Jordan Poole will move on. And to me, that's what really matters. Physically, I think he'll move on, obviously. He'll be there, opening night, ring ceremony. He'll be there October, end of October, when they play that week 1 game. Yeah, he'll physically be there. But mentally, if I'm Jordan Poole, I'm done. Once you break somebody's trust and attempt to break their face, ain't really no coming back from that. I think of it relationally. Once somebody steps out on you, if you will, yeah, you might stay in a relationship. But mentally, you might be checked out. You might be counting the days until you can retaliate. You're not going to retaliate the next day, but eventually something's going to come out from inside of you if you feel like you were violated that much. Jordan Poole, in my mind, violated publicly by his own teammate. That's my instant reaction to it. What are your thoughts on the situation, how it's been handled? Take the floor.
I think they handled it well, right? And I love what Steve Kerr said. He's one of my favorites. First of all, he's the guy that's been punched in the face by one of the greatest. And he talked about that. And he said, you know what? That brought us closer, right? That brought us closer. It was an issue that he was so mad about that they worked there as teammates. It's the same thing with Draymond Green. First of all, Draymond Green protects that team, right? Steph Curry's a nice guy. He's one of the best. But, you know, they try to push up on Steph. And here go Draymond Green, protect them. It's the same thing with Jordan Poole. This brings the team together. They handle it in-house. Hey, look, bro, I made a mistake. Dave, I don't want to punch you in your face, but you like the Cowboys, the Eagles, it may happen. And if it happens, I'm sorry. But we can work past that. It's all about protecting your brother.
Yeah.
When this next season, I don't know, 20 games, that might be 18-2, right? Vibing together, winning games. They might become closer. We never know. I hope they do. That's an answer that we won't know. And I think Bob Myers, I think Steve Kerr did a great job of handling it.
Joy, just take the floor. Answer whatever question you want to about your reaction and response.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Jordan Poole, I wouldn't get over it. But people are better than me. So I'm just assume Jordan Poole is better than me. I don't get over stuff. I hold grudges. They're like plants. So just give them a little water every day. And then they thrive. This is a situation that we knew happened.
Yeah.
They were already handling this internally. This wasn't something that was like exposed. We knew there was an incident. We just didn't see the incident. So the video obviously changes things for all of us, but it doesn't really change anything internally. Now, there was reports that some players hadn't seen it, so maybe they were like, oh, it's worse than I thought. But at the end of the day, there were witnesses. It wasn't like this was done in the secret and it was being covered up. They came out and said there was an incident. We're dealing with it internally. It involved Draymond and Jordan Poole, and then we saw the video. So these are grown men. These are champions. This is one of the best-run organizations in sports. Steve Kerr's been punched in the face by Michael Jordan. I don't know if this could happen to a team that's more prepared to handle this situation. But to Shady's point, we're kind of just writing off Draymond because they haven't handled his contract situation as if he is invaluable to this team.
Right.
For all of the incidents that Draymond has, they don't win any of those rings without him. There are two sides to the floor, and you need a guy like Draymond Green who's going to do the dirty work that you don't want your star players doing. So when you have a guy like Draymond Green, which you're perfectly comfortable with taking advantage of that particular personality trait that you got to have to be that, there is some liability on the other side of it, and he has shown that already.
Let me come to you real quick, Joy. Dave, I'm going to get you in here in a second, but Joy, you had me thinking. Answer me this, because this is a question I don't think enough people are asking, but based on what you said, I'm very curious in your take. There's a different level of pain, hurt, or frustration in my mind when there is a private aggression or action versus when that private aggression becomes public. If you cheat on a test or whatever, and then, like, your friends know, the teacher knows, but when they call mom and pops, that hits different. If you get cheated on or whatever, and your spouse knows all the things knows, but when the whole world finds out that your spouse stepped out on you, now you got to deal with all of that. Like, that's different. The private punching of Jordan Poole is one thing. Is there a difference in your mind for Jordan Poole once the whole world saw I got cold clocked?
Sure, of course, of course. But I'm not the right person to answer that question because I wouldn't get over it. But a lot of people do have the capacity to get over these certain things. What I'll say what's unique about this particular situation and why I like how Golden State is handling it is, like I said, they had already put out a statement. They knew what happened, and they had already decided this is how we're handling it. And they're not allowing public opinion to influence the decisions that they are making internally. Now, if that ends up being a problem for Jordan Poole, I'm sure we'll find out, because he will put his foot down and say, I'm not going to deal with this. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think this whole team will be together for the rest of this year. Now, what happens after that is a different story. Yeah. But I think everyone's going to play together. They're champions, and they've already decided how they're going to handle this. Outside influence can be very important to hold people accountable, to change situations, to expose situations. And sometimes outside influence can just be pushing to make a situation that was already solved worse, or throw extra stuff on that people don't really feel. Like, well, maybe Jordan Poole should feel this, or I wouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. This is how they should handle it. They've said this is how we're handling it. We appreciate y'all's opinion. We hear you. We respect your opinion. But respectfully, we got this, and we're going to do what we were going to do.
Dave, take us home.
I can't speak for any of y'all, but I feel confident that I can, though, because I know I've had teammates that I didn't like in sports and in life. It happens. Like, you're not going to get along great with everyone that you work with. So part of being a professional is getting past that. So, like, life gets way harder than not liking. Yeah, I do like you, Shady. Actually, I'm not even talking about you.
Do you love me?
We're working on it. It's early. It's early. You know. So first of all, like, that's part of it. Life gets way harder than not liking everybody that you work with.
Yes.
And on top of that, if there is an organization that's going to deal with this, like the Warriors at this point are on a Spurs-like level of just like, whatever y'all say, I think that's the right move. And it helps to be able to say, hey, Jordan, even if you don't like Draymond, grin and bear it for 9 months. We'll be champions again, and we can figure it out from there. And why wouldn't you trust that? That's what they do. I really just, I can't work myself up into thinking that this is an issue.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.